Earth that was could no longer sustain our numbers. We were so many. We found a new solar system, dozens of planets and hundreds of moons. Each one terraformed, a process taking decades to support human life, to be new Earths. The central planets formed the Alliance. Ruled by an interplanetary parliament, the Alliance was a beacon of civilization. The savage outer planets were not so enlightened and refused Alliance control. The war was devastating. But the Alliance's victory over the Independents ensured a safer universe. And now, everyone can enjoy the comfort and enlightenment of true civilization.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
This is Cheapseat Reviews.
So we're turning over a new leaf in the wind.
The Vulcan kidney pinch, or whatever they call it in this one. I don't know. Now that it's been contextualized, I get it.
Yeah.
By long gray beard and glimmering eye, now wherefore stoppest thou me?
Hello, and thank you for listening to Cheapseat Reviews, the podcast that explores the Hollywood film industry for the greater good.
The greater Goram good.
Wait, who's that?
What?
Hey, I'm back.
Oh,
Who is that?
Sam. Sam is back.
It has been a long summer. I appreciate it. But now is the time for Shawn to get his comeuppance. So it's been way too long.
Yeah, I haven't been killed on a podcast in what feels like a really long time. It has.
I know.
It has.
I did on your behalf for one episode, and then I honestly just forgot, Sam. I'm sorry.
Well, I appreciate it. Sure.
It has quite literally been 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What, 9 episodes you've been gone?
I know this. It's the longest break I've taken. I was worried you were going to think I was Chad, God's rest his soul, or corny.
Yeah.
So, but I am back. I appreciate you guys letting me have a summer. I was supposed to go to Maine. Some other things happened, and everything else, But thank you guys. That's all I got to say. Yeah.
Well, we did miss you, believe it or not, even though I know that there was a lot less arguing and a lot less pointless debates. We did miss you.
I always have a point. There is a point to everything I debate with you about. You just have to realize that you're wrong, and we can move on.
Yeah, that's exactly it. All right. This is episode 410. 410. I can't believe it. I can't believe I'm about to say these words also, but tonight we are doing Serenity. That's right. Serenity. I can't believe it. We're doing this movie. The
second time.
For technically the second time. Yes. This is 409 episodes later. We're actually doing this. This was supposed to be our first episode ever. But here we are now.
Shaw didn't hit record. So,
that's not quite right, but that's pretty close.
So 8.5 years later, Shawn said, maybe we should do our first episode.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Something like that.
So we're turning over a new leaf in the wind.
Yes.
You might say.
Nice. I like it. So the reason why we're doing it tonight, as opposed to on a big number like 500 or 450, is there's two very cool reasons. One is Rosie, good friend of the show, listener, who's listening right now. Well, not right now, but she's listening as I say things now. She was in the movie. She was an extra in this movie. She was on the Firefly fan boards when those things were a thing, back when you had internet fan boards, and she was there and all over the place. And so she's in the movie, and she's got a bunch of cool photos of her hanging out with Adam Baldwin and Nathan Fillion and Alan Tudyk. But she sent me a message a while ago saying, if you're going to do this movie, you need to do it. You need to do it around the 20th, I think she says, of August, because of, let's see, September 20th is the 20th anniversary, and we want to celebrate. So we're kind of doing it kind of around the 20th anniversary of Firefly.
Yeah.
So that was that. So thank you, Rosie. Now, also, people are listening going, wait a minute, don't you guys have a guest? Yes, I do. And it has been, I'm taking an awfully long time to introduce him. So here I go. Time to finally introduce who I'm talking to. This is episode 410, and we're talking about Serenity. I am Shawn Allred, and joining me tonight is Andrew. Hasn't had nothing twixt his nethers, weren't run on batteries for over a year. Jimison.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm okay with it. You know what? Battery powered, it's fine.
Yeah.
You can have your tool bag. That's cool.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
Okay.
we've been married a long time. It's fine.
It makes it fun. It's fine.
Yeah. It's fine. Sam also goes on violent rampages when he is forced to watch Chinese commercials. Vector.
Don't we all, though? I mean, I'm pretty sure we pretty much turn into a civilization of chaos when the Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon shows start coming on.
Sure, so. Both those I'm pretty sure are Japanese, but that's fine.
Yeah. So, well, they started in China.
Did they?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you're thinking of Tamagotchi.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Same place Nokia came from. So, anyway,
what we're trying to get across, listeners, is we don't know anything about Asia or any of the, Asian countries.
But
and
Shawn,
we apologize ahead of time.
Shawn, just so you know, let me stand next to me over here, and I need to hit you really oddly in the side.
Yeah.
And I've got a really pointy stick that I'm going to just put right in front of you.
Okay. So I'll just fall down onto the stick.
Just fall forward.
Sam, I thought you might make that joke. And the thing is, Shawn's at the age where he just does that. He just stands up and freezes in that position.
Yeah. Yeah. My back does that. You're not wrong. That's in fact, almost 3 years ago, in about 2 or 3 weeks is when I had my back surgery. So I had that nerve cluster moved.
Oh, so it wouldn't work.
Yeah, it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, and making his Cheapseat Reviews debut, he's also been very patient as I've been introducing the show here, is Brian. Do you want to run this ship?
Yes, I do. Thank you very much. I'll just run the ship from now on. Episode 410. This was originally going to be our first episode, but we decided to wait 4 years.
Well, you can't. There we go. Dunaway. I'm glad he picked up on it. Brian Dunaway, welcome to Cheapseat Reviews. I'm so excited to have you here.
Oh, hey, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. I'm pretty excited. I've never seen Serenity, so this is going to be fun.
Oh, wow.
Wait, really?
Did you watch the show before, the Firefly show?
I actually did, and I watched the movie before too.
I was gonna say, wait a minute. I would have.
Did it feel like maybe like you were leaning back in your chair and it suddenly fell? Whoop! What? Never seen it? No, I've seen it once.
Now, I honestly haven't seen. This is my first viewing of the entire movie.
Excellent.
I've never seen the show either. I've never seen Firefly.
Oh,
your first experience.
So this is my first experience of anything in this universe.
Oh, that's
interesting. This will be interesting to talk about because I figured we all had long histories with this one.
Well, this is cool for me because Andrew is going to experience Serenity like I did. I didn't know the show existed. A friend of mine rented this movie back in 2005 when it was on DVD. And he said, hey, just watch this movie. And so I watched it and loved it. I mean, immediately, like the end credits started and then I, rewound the disc and then we played it again. I watched it back to back. And it was probably...
Did you say you rewound it?
Yeah, it's a joke.
How do you rewind a disc?
Oh, whatever. So...
You got chapters,
Yeah. I hit stop and then play. So then...
There you go. Okay.
I ejected the disc and blew on it. No, that's not right either.
That's right.
And so I watched it again. So it wasn't probably for another 2 years before I knew it was based on a TV show.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
It was,
but at least I was the opposite, right? I saw all the TV before watching this. So I'm interested to hear the difference in how you take it, right?
Yeah.
Because it's so bittersweet watching it after all the characterization and all the development of the TV show and then watching this movie versus the other way around, where certain things happen in this movie, which we'll talk about spoiler-wise later probably, but are incredibly gut-wrenching to me as someone who watched 13, 14 hours of Firefly.
Right.
Now let me ask this question to you guys. Did Firefly happen prior to this movie? Is this like in the timeline? Does this happen at the end of Firefly?
Correct. On both cases.
Sort of.
First, and it also takes place chronologically first. The series, the TV series on TV.
Okay.
So yeah,
The Fox network killed Firefly.
Yeah.
Basically, they aired the show out of order and put it on Friday night, which is the dead night, because they didn't believe in the show. And it wasn't until there was an outcry from fans that they were finally able to put this movie together. So
well, Fox had nothing to do with this movie. Let's be real clear there.
Yeah.
To continue with Sam's point, and to answer your question, Andrew, yes, the opening scene where Simon's breaking River out, that is pre-show. Think of that as that's what happened before the show, and then during the credits when we're seeing the ship, that's all post-show. So we get to see the effects of him having broken her out, joining the crew, and their wacky adventures for 13 episodes on the boat. So, but yes, Fox screwed this all up. They aired it out of order. They never aired the pilot. The first episode was episode 2, the train job. So there's people watching it for the first time don't know who these characters are, how they got on the ship. Like they know nothing. And it's very confusing. And then there's, of the 13 episodes they made, 2 or 3 never aired ever.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So it's very, so like I have on the DVD.
It makes me angry is what it does.
Well, sure.
Because there could have been years of Firefly. There really could have been. And I want it. I'd still want it.
Yeah.
So anyway. When did Firefly originally air?
2002.
2002. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So when I started college.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Just to make you guys feel old.
Yeah, it was in the fraternity, we would actually set aside Friday nights to watch Firefly.
I don't remember any of that.
Yeah, I don't
remember hearing of.
Yeah, but Sam didn't hang out with us
in
in college. Is the thing.
No, I
you didn't like us then.
You guys weren't invited.
Yeah, obviously. So, Andrew, do you have the read? Let's go ahead and tell people what this movie is.
The crew of the ship Serenity try to invade an assassin sent to recapture Telepath River. That's what IMDb says. It doesn't really tell you all that much.
No.
That is pretty light.
Yeah.
Surprisingly.
Yeah, that sounds like a film pitch more than a film,
Yeah. So, and I'm going to be another thing just to throw in here real quick. So I remember when we first talked about the podcast and you mentioned this whole idea to me, Serenity was brought up, I think, as, a movie you had reviewed, and I didn't know what it was. And I had no idea that Serenity was the name of the ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had no idea until watching this movie.
And in the show, you get more depth as to why the name of the ship is called Serenity. There's a deeper meaning. The scene when Adam Baldwin and Mal are kind of facing off towards the kind of the middle, when he says, "Besides you and Zoe, how many of you walked out of there alive?" The pilot opens with the Battle of Serenity Valley, and in which they get completely destroyed by the Union forces or the Alliance forces. And so that's why he names his ship Serenity, is because it's the worst moment in his life.
So I feel like I'm going to have to go back now and watch Firefly to better understand and appreciate this movie.
I think it would help personally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this movie was definitely made for the fans. If you disconnect it from everything, even as a fan, it can be kind of jumping around a little bit and kind of like, what? I don't remember that.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And you'll have to either I'll let you borrow my DVD set so you can watch it in order or whatever. We'll find a way to make this work out. But it's definitely worth watching. Again, it's not very long. It's a pilot, which is basically a movie. It's an hour and a half, and then 13 episodes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hour and a half pilot.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And to make things confusing, the pilot is called Serenity.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good luck.
The pilot is called Serenity, which is basically a movie. But the pilot introduces the Reavers. So we get a taste of them in the pilot.
Oh, okay.
So I actually watched this movie with a friend, a friend from the Twitterverse, and I gave her the line. So there's a line in the TV show in the pilot that you don't really get in the movie. When the Reavers first show up, you kind of see them and you're like, oh, they're scary. But you don't ever see them in the show. You never physically see what they look like. You just see, like one of their ships or whatever. And Zoe has this great line where she says, one of the people, like, what are Reavers? Like, I think Simon asked, like, what are Reavers? What happens if they catch us? And she says, they'll rape us to death, they'll eat our flesh, and sew our skin into their clothes. And if we're very lucky, they'll do it in that order. Just that line makes you realize how scary these things are, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So the movie doesn't quite, I mean, the movie does, they're basically like space zombies, but.
Well, yeah, okay. So I guess we're just going to jump in here.
I mean, we can do 5-word reviews if you want, but I know the question you want to ask, and we can ask it now. It's fine.
Well, I tell you what, let's do 5-word reviews. We'll get into it.
All right.
Go ahead.
All right.
I don't want to screw up the order of our show too much.
It's fine. Yeah. I mean, we're almost 20 minutes in, and I still haven't had Brian give a chance to tell people what shows he's from and anything like that. So
let's do that. Then we'll get into this thing.
So
let's at least try to keep some semblance of order here.
Yeah, Brian, why don't you tell people that are listening to our show how did I hijack you onto this podcast?
Right. Oh, hi, I'm Brian Dunaway, and I've been podcasting since I was 5. Oh, I'm sorry. I started podcasting the same year this movie came out, 2005, with Scott Johnson and a bunch of those guys over there. We started out with Extra Life Radio, but more relevant is the podcast I've been doing since, I think, 2011. And it is called Film Sack, where we talk about it's a long running weekly podcast. Me, Scott Johnson, Brian Ibbett, Randy Jordan, and we mine the very depths of film entertainment on the most popular streaming services at the time, whichever they be. Usually it's Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, HBO Max, and so you're probably subscribed to them. And we just cover them. We just covered. Let's see. Last week we covered The Fugitive. And this weekend we're doing the U.S. Marshals, also a nice TV show turned movie.
Yeah.
So a very good time to have me on. Yeah,
and The Fugitive, part of it was filmed in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The train.
Well,
scene.
I'm excited. I am a subscriber to Film Sack. So
good.
I'm glad to have you on the show, and I appreciate you being here.
Oh, well, I was glad to do it. I heard an episode beforehand because I checked you guys out to make sure. I was like, what am I getting?
Yeah, you gotta do that.
Now, Shawn, we're not going to get in trouble here. I think a lot of our stuff comes from Film Sack.
So I've told Brian this. I told Brian. So if you've heard when he mentioned some of those names, Brian Ibbett and Scott Johnson, that those names sound familiar. If you listen to any of my experience on America's Next Top Podcaster, Brian Ibbett, of course, was the host of that, and Scott was a judge on there, and I was on there for my short time and had a good time with it. And the night that I got eliminated was the night I found out that Scott Johnson also subbed to my show, which was very cool to find out. But I've been listening to Brian since their show started in 2011, and so when I had an opportunity to bribe him to come on the show, I was going to take every effort to do so.
Yeah. Do you need help? I mean, are you tied up in his basement or something now?
No.
Okay.
Luckily, I never gave my home address, so But no, yes, it's hard not to have that. Podcasting's. Most of the podcasts we do on our network are conversational, and we don't own any rights to a conversational type podcast where it's the idea of a group of people getting together and talking after they watch a movie. I mean, we've all done it. We've all probably sit in our cars for hours hanging out with friends after seeing a movie, or hanging out at the house as you watch something and just recapping the movie and having a good time and laughing. So,
that's exactly how we started.
That is it.
Exactly the same way.
Yep. And so I needed a format, and so film sack seemed like the best way to do it. And so I said I'm going to steal all their good ideas, and I'm going to add
what is it? Great artist steal or something like that.
Imitation is the best form of flattery. I think that's what it's phrased.
No, I didn't. I think it was the stealing thing. I can't remember how.
Oh, the stealing thing. All right.
Artists don't imitate; they steal, or they don't borrow; they steal. Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, here we are doing our show, which is, different enough. So again, Brian, super excited to have you on.
People. There you go. Yes. And now it has me on it. So now it's exactly the same. Okay.
It's exactly the same. So I'm going to need, let's see, of this group, I guess I have to be the Scott. I think Sam would probably be the Randy of this group, and Andrew's going to have to be the Brian. Not just because Andrew also doesn't have hair like Brian, but.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Let's just narrow it down to that. Yeah. We got a bald guy, and then you got a bald guy.
Well, every podcast needs a bald. Just like every good college basketball team needs an ugly redheaded kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty accurate. All right. So let's do our 5-word reviews. And Sam, you go first.
Okay. I have just one tonight because I can't come up with anything else. So please forgive me. And I'll give my I only have 4 words, and that is characters, script, story, perfection.
Nice.
I love this movie. I love it. I could watch it over and over and over again. If I had any complaints at all over this thing, would be some of the visuals come across as computer gamish, but they weren't given a giant budget to make it Star Wars-esque. So I think with what they had and how it came across, I think Whedon, God bless his little weird soul, did well with this. I think he had fans to please and a new group of people to try to get to watch the movie, and I think he walked that tightrope really well. So I just enjoyed. I love the dialogue. I could sit here and just listen to the dialogue from this and Firefly all day long. It's that Western slang that I cannot for the life of me come up with. I don't know where they come up with these sayings and how they say it. There's got to be a workshop somewhere that somebody does this in. But I love it. You get stuff like with Firefly and Serenity, like not an Old Country for Old Men. What's the Coen Brothers film that they did?
True Grit.
Yeah.
Oh, True Grit.
True Grit. Yeah, True Grit. And then the Ballad of Buster Scruggs kind of has that same type of dialogue as well. I just love it. I'll eat it up all day.
Yeah, but this one is very witty too, and not just witty as far as the dialogue, but also they use words that you can't be an idiot. You know what I mean? Like
they're not dumbing it down to the audience.
They're not,
yeah.
And I appreciate that. Yeah. I mean, but at the same time, you can be, you know what I'm saying? Like you can appreciate this, I think, at any level, but there were words in this that I was like, wow, okay. This is a little highbrow. Okay. This is okay.
But that's kind of how, even the show was, right? It didn't take its time to exposition us to death. Certainly there are moments where you're having to describe some things, but you're pretty much thrown into this like you know what you're doing. So I love a good space romp. I love a good Western, and I love a good action film. And this checked all the boxes for me.
Nice. Yeah, the movie does have to straddle the line, right? Of we want to make sure that the fans aren't getting annoyed because they know a lot of this stuff because of the show, but we also need to make sure that people that have never watched the show, like Andrew and I, or hadn't at the time when we watched the movie, aren't confused.
Right.
I mean, there was a couple of moments when, like with Shepherd Book, right? When he says, you can't order me around, I'm not part of your crew. And he says, yes, you are. To Andrew, that doesn't mean anything now.
Right.
Eventually, if he watches the show, it'll mean something. But it was still a sad moment to watch him die on screen.
Yeah.
But you obviously don't have that emotional connection yet. But then when you go back and watch it, you're like, oh, now I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I get it. So, all right. Right on.
Yeah. So I enjoyed it. I loved it.
Hey,
there you go.
Honestly, Sam, I was waiting for you to argue just to argue with me on this movie. So this will be
I can't do that on something like this, man.
Yeah, I know. Which is the same thing like when we did Jurassic Park, which is your favorite film. It's like I want to argue with Sam, but I can't. It's such a great movie, you know.
I mean, and you could argue there are some shots in this movie that are pretty bad. Space shots, spaceship taking off and out, where it just looks janky. But like I mentioned before, the budget just wasn't there to make this a great visual film.
Well, this came out the same year, like almost pretty close to Revenge of the Sith, right? That's a $200 million movie, you know, Lucas, whatever, you know, with I can't think of the word. I got Skywalker sound.
Industrial
light and magic. Yeah. This was like Digital Domain, and this was a $60 million budget. You know, like this is a different thing. So but like this movie doesn't hang its hat on special effects like the Star Wars movies does. So
thank God, right?
Yeah.
Like I mentioned before, story.
Yeah.
And they did it so well.
They did. Mr. Dunaway, what's your 5-word review?
I picked a tongue twister. Let's see if I can read it. River cleaves Reavers, Serenity now.
Hey!
Oh, I love it.
Spoiler.
Now say that 5 times fast.
Right. I had to say it slowly because I was afraid of that. Because I wrote it earlier today whenever I was still, you know, awake. And I was like, I'm not going to be able to read that. Also, I wrote Cowboy Bebop meets Life Force vampires.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Life Force, yeah.
Yeah.
I see that. Okay. Yeah.
I like it. So expound, Brian. Like, how are you feeling about this movie? Like, you like it, you love it, you hate it? Like, where are you feeling on this?
This is always okay. So, like I said, we've done Film Sack since 2011, and every week, sometimes I'm like, oh no, I like that movie a lot. Don't make me watch it with a critical eye.
Yeah.
Because this movie is, to me, it was always best viewed with me just kind of relaxing and laid back. When I put on the critic's hat and start looking and going, oh, some of these edits are a little too fast. And I don't know my locations sometimes. I feel like I don't know where the characters are at. And so I got like I said, sometimes it felt a little confusing, like things didn't quite make sense. And emotionally, sometimes that kind of took me out of the movie. So when some of the things that were really heavy emotionally that might have hit me if I was kind of casually watching it, didn't hit me as hard. Do we talk about spoilers now? Are we okay with?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
We assume the listener has heard the movie. Okay. Or seen the movie. All right. Right. So like when he, when they throw the dead bodies on the front of the ship to mimic the Reavers type ship, that should have been a much bigger punch to the gut, and it just wasn't, because like I said, critical viewing versus the other. But if you had asked me before we did this, I would have said, yeah, I like that movie. That's a good movie. It's good, and it's got good humor. And this time I didn't feel the humor either, because I think I was in their minds too much, thinking about, how devastated they would be with some of these losses that were happening and the dire situation they were in. And so the humor felt more like nervous humor instead of witty banter. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
this is always the danger of reviewing movies you like. You might get in there and go, oh, I can't enjoy the pretty lights and action because I'm too.
It's like going back to some of our favorite 80s movies that it's hard to go back to those childhood ones and relive them.
Yeah, but overall, I mean, if somebody walked up on the street and asked me, I would definitely say, oh yeah, you definitely need to see Serenity. It is a good movie. Check it out. I think you may find a new story that you didn't know existed that you want more of. And you'll never really get enough of it because there's only a season in this movie.
Yeah.
So where's my comic book? Where's my graphic novels?
Well, they do have some comics. I know that. there are some comics. I did see there was a there's a couple of like just single issue kind of things that are, and maybe Rosie knows and she'll message me later, but I did read one where it was like after the movie, and basically Zoe has a daughter from Wash.
That would help.
Yeah, and they're she's telling the story of her dad. And it's this really sweet story, and it's this really sweet thing. And in the show, there's one episode where Alan Tudyk has a really terrible mustache. And so in the comic, in the comic, the mustache is even bigger and even more ridiculous. And I was crying by the end. I was just totally crying by the end. It was just so sweet. So there is some stuff out there, but you're right. For the most part, it's 13 episodes in this movie, which is a bummer.
Yeah.
And it's funny, Brian, you say that because usually that's what I do, right? Usually when we watch the movie for the show, it is, we always refer to it as the CSR glasses, patent pending.
Right.
And you watch it with a critical eye and you go, oh, maybe you're right. Maybe this is a little janky. I didn't do that this time because I was watching it with a friend and and she had never seen it before.
That helps.
And so there's moments where I'm looking at her waiting for key moments in the movie, you know, how do Reavers clean their spears? They put it through the wash, right? So like when that happens, I'm waiting for that moment to see her reaction. And she reacted the way you wanted to. She's like, oh, no, she was pissed,
there
right?
You go.
And so, yeah, exactly. Like you want her to suffer a little bit.
Right.
I take pleasure in my friends.
Be my
suffering.
Emotional support animal, please. Help me. Yeah,
exactly. Well, it's the same thing, right? Like, I think, Sam, you recently got to let your daughters got to watch Empire Strikes Back, and you got to see their reaction. Whereas my son freaking spoiled it for himself when he was like 4. So when we finally watched Empire Strikes Back when he was like 6, he was like, I already knew that.
Yeah.
So that moment,
I knew they smelled worse on the outside.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of that, okay, I have to tell this joke. So I've been playing this Star Wars game on my phone, and when it's loading, it tells you little quote unquote fun facts. Yeah. And the fun fact was, what is the average temperature of a tauntaun? And it's lukewarm.
Oh, ouch.
That's a bad joke if I've ever heard
that
one.
hurts.
Yeah. Hammond Chamberlain would approve of that joke.
It's good.
Anyway, but to your point, Brian, was that I didn't watch it this time with the true CSR glasses because I was watching it with a friend. So some of the moments you're talking about, like you're not knowing where characters are, or even like you mentioned the bodies on the ship, and you say that I've never thought about that. You're 100% right. I mean, Kaylee has a reaction and Zoe has a reaction, right? She's like, you mean to turn our home into an abomination so we can make a suicide run through Reaver territory?
Well, she mentions these are our friends.
Yeah.
These are, that's true. I never thought of it either.
Yeah. And Nathan goes off later on when he has a moment to himself so he can, have his little breakdown. But yeah, it's just, like I said, as a viewer, I didn't have an emotional reaction. Yeah. And so, like when Zoe, after Wash got stabbed, she mourned for about 2 seconds. And I was like, okay, I know that originally Mal and Zoe, they're the core of the team originally. They were the ones that had fought in the wars. And so, I was just like, I feel like she should be doing more than just a little angry. But I guess I don't know. I've never been in a situation where I had to fight Reavers, so I don't know. Maybe I would act differently.
Well, and I can say this, and Andrew will probably have a similar reaction, but having watched this with the director's commentary on, it's when the Reavers start coming in and she shoots them, right? When she breaks the line, she goes and she stabs one. Yeah. And that's her way. It's more than she has to kill them. She needed to stab one like her husband was stabbed.
Revenge.
Yeah. Right. She needed to do that act. That was kind of her way of whatever. Then once she had done that, then she was not better, but she was, she had kind of fulfilled her mission. And of course she gets sliced up the back and then they put a Band-Aid on her. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it like maybe also knew, I went in knowing some things too. And this is also another part of it. I knew that Josh Whedon's original vision was that it would be, I think the pitch was something like 9 characters look into space and all see something different. And so I don't know. I felt like the character exploration didn't seem to go where I wanted to. And that's probably my biggest problem, is it's just not enough. The 2 hours was not enough to explore the depth and scarring and the brokenness of these characters, plus world building. It was just not enough.
Well, do you think that's a problem of having a TV show before it?
I think because they started. It's such a unique problem. What other TV series do you know that win a season, or not even a full season, half season, and then end up being a movie? You started building this world, and then you just get cut off, and then you got to like wrap the story up in 2 hours. It's like, woo.
Well, and the original plan wasn't to wrap it in 2 hours. They were supposed to be a trilogy. This was supposed to spawn a trilogy. And that's why Alan Tudyk and Ron Glass, Shepard Book and Wash were killed, because they didn't sign the contract.
I was going to say budget cuts.
No, they didn't sign on for a trilogy, was the rest of the cast did. So that's why they died. I mean, it's as simple as that. So, so to your point, Brian, like you're right. There was going to be more. And,
right.
And I think, but again, it was bad timing, right? It wasn't just the fact that this was a lower budget film and it was based on a TV show that unfortunately not very many people watched. But again, it came out the same time as Star Wars. And it was 3
years after the hubbub, right? Because I mean, when it got canceled that first year, the fans are like, "What?" and they're pissed. And they got to wait for like almost 3 years before it comes about. You kind of lose your energy, right? You kind of like,
yeah.
I've kind of come to terms with the fact that it no longer exists.
So and then you see it and you get mad all over again.
Yeah, right.
So this did come out in theaters, yes?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
don't remember seeing it, as an ad or
I actually do remember
or anything.
I remember it because I remember. So our friend Jamie Rutter is who introduced this movie to me, and when he said, "Hey, you should check this movie," I'm like, I remember the commercials for that. And then we watched it, and I was blown away. But it came out in September, so I mean, it's September of 2005, and so we had just had a big, let's see, Star Wars hadn't come out yet because those were December releases, but we just had Batman Begins, and I think the first Fantastic Four movie, I think, was also that year.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That actually was a really good marketing campaign for the first Fantastic Four. It wasn't the marketing that hurt that movie.
No.
Well, I mean, they're fine. Those first two, they're not great, but they're fine for what they were, because we didn't know at the time, because the only thing we'd had at the time really for like really, really good superhero movies, comic book movies, right? We had, the Spider-Man 1 and 2, and Spider-Man 2 was really good. And that was kind of it, right? We had Blade.
Yeah, that was about it.
We had Blade
in the Marvel side.
Well, but Batman was so, or you know what I'm saying? Like
so long
it was
before
so
that.
long ago. Like Batman in '89 was so
Schumacher had tainted that by the time we got to this.
That's true.
People were angry.
You made it better. What you meant to say.
Oh no, there might be fisticuffs on this.
No, Brian's not being serious. Bat nipples, man. That's the way to go. Once you're that's what they should have done for Spider-Man 3. They would have made more money on that movie if they would have given
Spider nipples.
Put nipples on Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Andrew, what's your 5-word review?
Okay, so I don't want to hurt your feelings here, Sean. I know this is your favorite movie.
It's fine. This is the risk I knew that was going to happen when it's again.
Yeah.
Brian, you don't know this. This is my favorite movie, like of all time.
Oh,
this
really?
is it. Yeah.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah. So this is fine. Seriously.
Yeah.
Okay, my first 5-word review is would make a great series.
And it did.
As I was watching this, I thought, I think I would enjoy this better if it were split into smaller chunks and streaming. That's what I thought as I was watching it. My second 5-word review is Joss Whedon's Gorham Space Pirates.
Nice.
So, yeah, I'm sorry, I had another one. Ship looks like a chicken.
Yeah.
So
It does. Or a goose
It's
or
not
something.
supposed to be pretty.
Yeah.
no, it's an ugly ship. But no, I don't know. I think there was a lot that, had I seen the show, had I seen Firefly, maybe gotten some more of the backstory. Like Brian was saying, I think there's some world building that I missed out on. There's some backstory that I missed out on that left me questioning some things. Now, having said that, the story was good. I did appreciate the story, and the pacing of the film was okay. But I'm going to be honest, Adam Baldwin is a terrible actor. In the first scene of the movie with him there, I thought, my God, he's awful. And it didn't get much better, to be quite honest, if I'm not trying to fluff here. But I do appreciate the action in the movie. I do appreciate the storytelling. This is certainly a Joss Whedon film, and you can kind of tell by the way some of it's filmed. But it just didn't quite hit all cylinders for me for some reason. I don't know why. And so I said this is the first time I've watched this, and it is the first time I've watched it in its entirety. Mm-hmm. I did start watching this movie about, I don't know, 4 years ago, when I found out it was your favorite movie. Because I thought, you know what, Shawn's my friend. I need to know about this movie. And I watched half of it and I stopped. I was like, I can't watch anymore.
Well, did you question the friendship? Is that what happened? It's like, oh, I don't know.
I was like, I don't even know him anymore. It's just not the same. No, but I did. I don't know why. But I kind of felt the same way this time. And I don't know if it was because the length of the film and I was just kind of exhausted halfway through. Because it's a long movie. It's 2 hours, but it feels like 4 for me. I don't know why.
There's a lot of changes. There's a lot of scene changes. Too many scene changes, really. Yeah.
And I do appreciate some things. I really do. Alan Tudyk is a favorite actor of mine by far. And when he died, I really did. I was upset about that. But like you said, Zoe's reaction was, oh no, he's dead. And then she's fine. And I just,
right.
And it kind of,
well, yeah. You also have to remember too,
minimized his death for me.
She's a soldier, right? She was a soldier first.
She is. But see, but the thing is, I don't know that.
Yeah, I know you don't.
As a non-Firefly watcher, I didn't know that. I didn't know the backstory of her and Mel. And the comedy in this, I did appreciate as well. Nathan Fillion he's great. He needs to be in more stuff. But his delivery is wonderful. The scene where he walks in and says, "Dear Buddha, please bring me a pony and a plastic rocket." I laughed out loud because I thought, my God, this is hilarious. But at the same time, I'm thinking, okay, it's that part of the movie's fine. But if I got more of that, I might appreciate it more. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just, I don't really know how to explain it because
that's fair.
I feel like I'm missing a lot of information that I need to appreciate it in its fullest, if that makes sense.
It does. So I was on another podcast and it was another podcast, Digital Dissection did the Firefly, Serenity, and what was the third thing? Oh, then they did the music of all of it with Measure the Score. And so I was on for just the movie. And I was also on a podcast called Sudden But Inevitable, which Jesse has been on our show, and the other cast of that show as well. And they talked about the show Firefly. And I've always kind of contended because I watched the movie first and then the show, I kind of look at it as the movie is A New Hope and the show is the prequels.
Yeah.
Like this is the meat. This is the main course, and the show is the backstory, or I guess to keep the metaphor, it's like the appetizer.
Right.
Uh-huh.
You know, it kind of fills in everything else. Whereas for Sam, this is the end, and I guess Brian
this is
too.
the payoff.
This is the payoff. This is the final thing that capped off the show. So anyway, it's just different. And Andrew, I totally get it. Again, I don't expect everyone to love this movie. I mean, I had people on Twitter like, I've never even heard of this thing. And it's like,
you know, and
it's
having
fine.
said that, I don't dislike it. It's just not going to be in my top movies.
Sure.
And the reason that I asked you at the beginning was, did this come out in theaters? Is it did really feel like something that was made for TV?
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that. And I do get that. Okay. So my 5 reviews, one of them is actually only 4, and that's simply my favorite film ever. So there you go.
Nice.
But yes, period. I guess you can make it 5. Yeah. And then my other one is space western plus zombie pirates.
There you go. Yeah. It's that.
Yeah, that's it.
Wrong with that.
So, okay, let's talk about the pirates or the zombies,
Please,
the Reavers, because I know
I do have a question here.
Yeah. So I know what your question is. Your question is, if these things are such ravenous, crazy monster things, how can they have space flight?
There you go. That's what I was going to ask.
So the movie explains at the end that that they put this chemical into the atmosphere of this planet, right? And you know, the majority of the people just eventually they just let themselves die because they stopped caring about anything. But 0.1% just increased aggression. So there's still people. There's still whatever. They just have to kill and eat flesh and whatever. So there's still people. They still have the ability to have, because remember, well, you don't know this, but they do. So River says the line, they want us alive when they eat us, right? There's still reasoning, right? They can still reason. They still have the ability to make decisions, right? So like the line that I quoted earlier from Zoe from the show, which again, you haven't heard, but she used the word rape us to death. Rape is an emotion, right? Zombies don't rape, right? They just kill you and eat you. So the way I guess the movie kind of makes it, you know, to show it is that, yes, they're still men and women, and they still have the ability to operate vehicles in space, and there's probably some kind of social structure on the ship to have a captain and the gunner and the repairman and the engineer, whatever, for their common goal of eating people alive.
I think the cannibalism is what causes the confusion. I think I drive to work every day. I have rage. I can imagine being so rageful that I want to murder everybody, but I wouldn't eat them. You know, I just, I could see that. I can see where rage would get to a certain point, but I just don't see what that has to do with eating people. And I think that causes confusion. It's like, oh, they're zombies? No.
Yeah. and there really was some confusion there for me, because I was sitting there thinking, if they are such ravenous beasts, you know, how do they have the intelligence? And I think what you mentioned about in the show, you never see them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the difference. Maybe had I never seen them in this movie, I would have appreciated it more. I don't know. I can't say that, but thinking about it, you know, it's something about seeing their rotting flesh and like, you know, stripped away skin.
Well,
and
it's
all
not
this
rotting. It's just that they cut themselves.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, it looks, they're malnourished. Something's wrong with them.
Yeah. Well, all they're eating is people. So
living on rage. It takes a lot of calories. Burns a lot of calories being enraged like that all the time. Yeah.
But there's something about seeing that it puts it in a different spectrum.
Yeah. No, I get that.
Well, it's the same reason why Jaws is much more powerful in the movie than if Steven Spielberg would have been able to work.
Jaws, right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Or even Jurassic Park, for goodness sake. You know, it's what's not seen that makes it scarier than what is.
Right.
Your imagination will always trump.
Sure.
good sense. So,
And to be fair, and you're right, like the explanation I gave you, Andrew, is an explanation that I've had at the ready because I've had to have this conversation several times. But the movie doesn't really explain it great. It doesn't. And the show doesn't really explain it great either. I think we're just supposed to understand that they're smart enough to have space flight, and we also learn in the show they're smart enough to set traps.
Yeah.
So they're not mindless beasts. They are, in fact, they're just dudes and women, right, that are just insane with the hunger to kill and eat and rape.
I honestly think the Reavers and the lack of understanding of the Reavers is due to, number one, the show not lasting any longer, and number two, having to figure out how to get this movie within 2 hours.
Right.
I think it was. There's probably some script on the cutting room floor that would have explained some of the stuff about the Reavers, even more so than that they were people off the planet who had been drugged or gassed or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Here's a bad comparison. Like Stargate SG-1, if that had only lasted one season in the one movie, I don't know, man. Because a lot of the second season, it starts getting a little bit better.
Yeah. Well, most shows are like that, right? Most shows, they get their, Star Trek, Next Generation is not really good until you get to season 2. And you're
for
not
God's
wrong.
sake, The Office. For good, we can't get you to watch The Office because you couldn't get through season 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One's tough. Come on.
And I guess that's true. I mean, it does take most shows at least a season to find out who they are and where they want to go and the direction they want to take their show in.
Especially with 9 ensemble, a cast of 9 or more.
Yeah.
Well, and I will say this. When I found out that Joss Whedon was directing Avengers, I thought, it's the perfect director because he's used to doing an ensemble cast. Right. I mean, this movie isn't an ensemble of A-list actors like that movie was, The Avengers, but it's still an ensemble. It still takes a skill. I mean, we all are kind of invested in these characters. I mean, Andrew, you've only known these characters for 2 hours, but you care about Kaylee and Simon and River. Like, you care about these characters. Yeah. Now, you know Adam Baldwin's character, Jane, he's a one-note dude. He's a blunt instrument. And which I love. And like you say his acting is bad. I think I actually really like
better as the movie went through.
But I like his acting because everything he does is 100% Jane. Like when they sit down with Fantine Mingo and the three of them, Fantine Mingo and then Captain Reynolds, they all hold their drinks to toast, but Jane just drinks it.
Yeah. Right.
Because he doesn't give a shit about formalities. He just drinks it. And there's other little subtle moments where it also, I didn't realize it until I was watching it this time. Either Jane is killing somebody or he's eating. I forgot how much he's eating. He's like doing a Brad Pitt before, Brad Pitt started eating on screen all the time.
Yeah. It takes a lot to keep that muscle mass. As a matter of fact, they even recognized it in the audio effects because if you're listening, whenever he walks, it's a much heavier walk. I mean, a lot heavier than everybody else.
He's a big dude. I mean, he is a big man. Anyway. So, So other things that I really love about the movie, one of my favorite moments of the movie is the introduction of the crew, and I love it for two reasons.
The one shot.
It's a one shot. I love a good one shot. Now there is one edit. There is one edit when they're walking down the stairs and the camera goes from the captain to Simon. There's a cut there as the camera swipes across, but that's only because you can only get 3.5-4 minutes of film in a canister. So they had to do a cut. But I love that. And I also love the way that it basically introduces the cast, right? So we're introduced to the captain because he literally says, "This is the captain. We're going to explode." We know Wash is the pilot because he's the pilot. Then we go down the stairs and we meet Jane, who's got 48 guns on him. So now we know instantly he's the muscle. Then Zoe walks
complaining about not being able to bring grenades.
Grenades.
Yeah. Right. No grenades. Aw. That's the sound my son makes when I said he can't play Legos. Aw. And then Zoe walks up and she says, "Are we crashing?" He says, "Talk to your husband." So now we've established that they're married. In one line,
Right.
We've established that they're married. Then he goes down and talks to Kaylee. She's the mechanic because there she is being all cute as the mechanic. And then when Simon's there, he calls him Doc. Simon's the doctor.
Uh-huh.
Like everyone gets their intro. And I think it's brilliant that the way it's done. And then they have their argument all the way down until the camera finally lands on River in the last shot of the intro. It's just, to me, it's just brilliant. I just love the way that is laid out and how it's shot and all of that stuff. And it just, to me, it sets the tone for the rest of the movie of this movie is going to be fun and clever and all of that. And to me, it stays that way. Again, I know there's some bumps here and there and whatever, but for me, that sets the tone and I freaking love it. And I also love the bad guy, who I can't pronounce his real name, Mordu from Doctor Strange.
Yes.
He is a great villain. He's so good in this.
And a great character, and not in the TV show, by the way.
And he's probably the character, if I'm being honest, that I enjoyed the most in the film.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because he's so good. I mean, I love,
very good.
He's really good. He's great at acting, but it's just an interesting character. He's just an assassin that believes in killing River is the right thing to do.
And he refuses to change. He's just all the way through.
Yeah.
Until he gets, the back bundle of nerves hit.
Yeah.
Yep.
That is. Yeah.
Yeah. That's not
the
a real
Vulcan
thing.
kidney pinch or whatever they call it in this one. I don't know. It's
yeah. I like the Vulcan kidney punch. I like that idea.
It's good.
Yeah. But you're right. And I also really like the fact that at the end, he changes his mind. Once Mal shows him what happens, he's like, yeah, we're good. We'll let him go.
Yeah.
But did you like, Andrew, the fight scene with River and the Reavers?
I really did. I was going to say that was very well choreographed. And as I have one of my best friends is a dance teacher. My aunt was a dance teacher. I've been around dance all my life. You can definitely tell that this was choreographed, but it's done very well. It's certainly not fighting. It's falling with style, as Buzz Lightyear would say. But it's done very well, and I did appreciate it. Especially there was the scene where she kind of leans back and moves around and knocks out a circle of people around her. And I did appreciate that. Yeah.
Well, and it's highlighted in the trivia and on the commentary that Summer Glau is a trained classical dancer.
And it shows.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, the camera operator in that room is also a trained dancer to give you the flowy movement as well. So,
and I think that goes back to your comment about the shot at the beginning. If it's the same camera operator, it's very graceful the way that I'm watching it right now. Actually, the introduction, I just went back and put it back on. And it is very smooth and it tells a story through the camera, just by what you're looking at. And it shows that these people are trained classically in some art.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
It is. It's beautiful. It really is. And I don't know, just there's a lot of these really great camera moments, when they're doing the robbery bit and the camera is going to go down to the guy who's on the ground. So in order to get the camera that low, you have to do it upside down, right? Because when you have a steady cam rig, the camera's at the top and you have the counterweight with the monitor at the bottom. So they had to rig it upside down and start high so you can go low so the camera's not touching the ground. I mean, just little tricks like that are just really clever. And Brian, you wouldn't know this, but I worked in TV and film for a while. I lived in Wilmington, North Carolina for a while and worked on a handful of movies and film and TV shows. They're all super bad and low budget that you've never heard of, but we did have a Steadicam operator for one of the movies, which was a lot of fun to kind of watch how they do things. So that was cool stuff.
It is cool.
I have to mention when Serenity pops in from getting the Reavers to follow her, and they all pop in. I immediately thought, Star Wars basically did the exact same thing how many years after this?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean?
In the final movie, episode 9.
Rise of
Skywalker.
Yeah.
They basically did the same thing, except, I mean, obviously they weren't Reavers, but I found that interesting this time around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually had never picked up on that correlation, but you're right. Yeah, I just love the plan. I really like the idea that when Mal talks to Honora and says, if I start fighting a war, you're going to see something new. We saw something new. Like when he says they're not going to see this coming, like Andrew, you didn't see that coming, did you?
No.
I mean, so when they have that, when Serenity flies through the atmosphere and the agent, he's just all cocky. He's like, the bastard's not even changing course. And then everything shows up. It's such a cool shot.
Yeah.
It's such a cool moment. I loved it. That was a moment where I was staring at my friend, seeing how she was going to react. It was good. I love that scene. But 2 points. Somebody also made the other point too about the writing. So about 2 or 3 weeks ago, Avengers was on TNT, which it feels like they do the Avengers, series on TNT and TBS. It feels like every other weekend. It's either Avengers or Star Wars.
Star Wars, yeah. Star Wars this past weekend, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was watching the first Avengers, which I love the first Avengers. And the dialogue in that movie reminded me of the dialogue in this movie. And I love Endgame and Infinity War. Infinity War is my favorite of the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
But it made me realize that there's no clever dialogue in Infinity War. It's all very simple, straightforward, stuff. Whereas in the first Avengers, it feels like there's a lot more clever things happening. And it's like, oh yeah, because Joss wrote that one. Like he wrote this. There's just, it's a little bit better written. Not quite Aaron Sorkin-esque, but, kind of whatever.
I'm with you.
Listeners of the show know I'm a huge Sorkin fan. And so,
Oh yeah. Great, quick dialogue.
Yeah.
It's Shakespeare of our time, I think.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Sorkin. Well, you're not gonna. You're gonna be. This is gonna shock the hell out of you, Sam. But I'm on my 8th rewatch of West Wing right now, so it's just.
And yet I can't get you to watch The Office.
I know.
Oh.
But again, and I've said this, and the reason is because I've seen it now so many times. I can use it basically as a podcast. I can put it in my headphones on my phone and work. I mean, it's basically background noise.
White noise.
Yeah. I just know what's happening. Whereas with The Office, I have to sit down and pay attention. The only thing that I'm watching right now is The Orville. And I'm the season 3 of The Orville, and I'm just loving it. I think it's great.
Stuff's so good. The most recent season, they finally took the shackles off.
Yeah.
From the horrible Fox people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
What is up?
It's Fox.
Anyway.
I know that this is off topic too, but it's something I'm watching right now. I actually just finished. If you haven't seen this, you got to check out A League of Their Own on Amazon Prime, which is a series based on A League of Their Own from years ago. But it's so good. It's really, really well done.
That's right.
So check it out.
Is there any crying in that? Is
there crying in the baseball?
That scene is there, but it's done in a different way, and I really appreciate it. So yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, Tom Hanks yelling at her, the whole no crying in baseball bit is a classic.
Baseball.
Yeah, it made me realize how the movie with Tom Hanks really features him a lot. He kind of drives that. He's driving that vehicle, but this one is more about the ladies, and I like it. It's good.
Well, good, because the other one with Tom Hanks' character, he's just basically the Bad News Bears coach, right? I mean, that's pretty much what he's playing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got distracted because I was going to our Twitter post just to see what people have posted as their top 3, and I noticed that I had a notification letting me know that Jesus Christ is now following us.
Oh, nice.
Good. Well, that's cool because I'm following him.
Yeah. That kind of caught me off guard. I was like, oh, okay. Well, that's cool.
About time.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about time. It's, I
make the joke in my classroom. The kids are on their cell phones, and I'm like, look, don't be on your cell phones. And they say, well, what if my mom is texting me? I said, I don't care if Jesus is texting you. You don't answer it in my classroom. And they all look at me like, oh, that's so mean. But I guess Jesus really can text them now. You can follow him on Twitter.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter. That's funny. All right. Are we ready for some clips? I have a few.
Please.
And by a few, I mean 9 or so.
Oh, great.
Well, wow. I was going to have to capture a lot. It's my favorite movie. Come on.
Yeah. One for each character. Yeah.
Yeah. So there we go. This one's called Psychic, though I spelled psychic way wrong in my file here. Here we go. Psychic.
The minds behind every military, diplomatic, and covert operation in the galaxy, and you put them in a room with a psychic.
I love it. It's so good. So good. He's just so good. I mean, it's just like, because when he walks in the room, the doctor man, when he walks in the room, you as the viewer, you have no idea that, he's like, oh, he's about to get killed for he's gonna have to fall on his sword. All right.
Slowly,
very painfully. Oh, it's one of the, everything about that death just drives me, like it makes my skin crawl. It's like you can't do anything about it. And it's just like the slowest, painfulest death as you're just slowly falling down. Just kill me quickly.
Right. I've tried.
Many times.
Yeah.
Explode.
This landing is going to get pretty interesting.
Define interesting.
Oh God, we're all going to die?
This is the captain. We have a little problem with our entry sequence, so we may experience some slight turbulence and then explode.
I laugh every time I hear that bit. It just makes me laugh. It does. Because even later on when he says, just get us on the ground. Well, that part's going to happen pretty definitely. We're going to crash. We're making jokes about it, but we are going to crash. And of course, later Wash would actually crash the ship. But all right, this is called At Last.
At last, we can retire and give up this life of crime.
Oh shit! I had a setup for that. I had a setup for that. My setup was going to be, I recorded my wife when I told her that the state is finally giving her a 1% pay raise. She then said,
"At last, we can retire and give up this life of crime."
There you go.
Now that it's been contextualized, I get it.
Yes. It's never funny when I have to set up the own joke after you hear the punchline.
No.
Isn't it though?
No. All right. Well, if you listen to this podcast long enough, you'll know that's the way it goes sometimes. All right. Here's Jane saying things that I like.
I'll kill a man in a fair fight. Or if I think he's going to start a fair fight. If it bothers me, or if there's a woman, or if I'm getting paid. Mostly only when I'm getting paid. These Reavers, the last 10 years, they show up like the bogeyman from stories. Eating people alive? Where does that get fun?
Where does that get fun? I like it. Jane is a one-track mind. It's either, he's either thinking with money or his dick. I mean, that's kind of it, that's just the way it is.
Or his grenades.
Or his grenades.
Yeah.
Likes to blow stuff
one
up.
and the same.
Should be nice if we had some grenades, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
I have used this quote many times.
I cried like a baby, a hungry, angry baby.
Yeah. Hungry, angry baby.
I have said that many times. So we talk about tropes on this show, just like Film Sack does as well.
I can't avoid them. Yeah,
you can't. And this movie does have a lot of tropes, and that's fine. To me, this is like an anti-trope. So I'm gonna play the clip, and then we'll discuss it.
If anything happens to me, or if you don't hear from me within the hour, you take the ship, you come and you rescue me.
What? Risk my ship?
I mean it. It's cold up there, and I don't want to get left.
So so the trope usually is, if you don't hear from me within the hour, you take the ship and save yourself.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But he says, no, you come get me.
Yeah, that's right. Don't you leave me.
Yeah, I love it.
Which, to be honest, I think is a more realistic reaction.
Yeah.
I think most of us would be like, if I'm not there, come get me.
Yeah.
I'm in trouble, come get me.
Well, and that's also a plot point in one of the episodes, is that the captain gets caught and they have to take the ship and go rescue him. And it's again, hilarity ensues. Somehow we got Brian's middle name captured here.
You want to run this ship? Yes. Well, you can't.
You can't. We shouldn't have offered. That's what I always say. Yeah.
I love it. I just love it. It's a tense moment, and they're talking about some serious stuff, and you have this moment to kind of break the tension, which is I appreciated that. I really did. One of the best lines in the movie.
I aim to misbehave.
There you go.
Yeah.
I aim to misbehave. I mean, that's just one of those lines where, like for this movie, like I could type that on Twitter and people know what I'm saying if you know what it is. You know,
it is on the cover box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing I think.
But who thinks of that, right? I aim to misbehave.
Right.
It blows my mind, the creative process that comes up with something like that.
Yeah.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of love, this is the last clip, and it's one of my favorite quotes of dialogue ever, and it is talking about love.
Love. You can learn all the math in the verse. If you take a boat in the air that you don't love, she'll shake you off just as sure as a turn in the world. Love keeps her in the air when she ought to fall down. Tells you she's hurting before she keens. Makes her a home.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. He loves his ship.
He does.
He does.
He really does.
Yeah, and it's kind of where my 5-word review came from. Is Joss Whedon's Gorham Pirates, Space Pirates. They referred to the ship as her many times, and also as the boat several times, and it gave me a very pirate type feel. You mentioned the Reavers being kind of piratey, but I felt like, in a way, you mentioned kind of a space western sort of, but I felt like they were more pirates than cowboys in a sense.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, the show gives it way more of a space western, than the movie. Because every location is Southern California, and they're in the desert, and every moon they go to is the desert. Somewhere there's horse riding, there's shootouts, there's literally a duel. I mean, there's a lot more, western.
Train robbery.
There's a train robbery. Yeah. I mean, there's cattle. There are literally cows in space in one episode. Right. But yeah, they are pirates. There's a great comic that came out, the comic strip people use all the time as a meme, where it shows like people in a boardroom, and this guy says, Guardians of the Galaxy is the biggest thing in the planet right now. We need to make a TV show where we put a bunch of misfits and criminals and we put them on one spaceship and have them do things. And then the one guy says, we had that. It was called Firefly. And then the next panel is him being thrown out the window.
Nice. Yeah. I love those memes.
Yeah, it was great.
Who has the better bio ship though? Lex or Farscape TV series?
Oh yeah, I don't know.
You guys watch bad sci-fi TV? Come on.
No. I've actually never seen
XX. What's that?
Yeah, I've never seen 1 second of Farscape.
Oh, you never seen 1 second of Farscape with the Muppets?
No.
Oh my God.
I know.
How are you supposed to understand Firefly without watching Farscape and Lex?
I guess I don't, obviously.
Right.
I hate to ask. I don't even know what Lex is.
Oh, Lex is also another sci-fi channel TV thing. You can watch it on YouTube for free now, but it's a group of misfits who are like in some kind of insect ship, sentient insect ship. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. You have to go check it out.
I got your Cowboy Bebop reference.
Oh yeah, there's the Cowboy Bebop. Yeah, if you look deep into the Firefly, I mean, is supposed to be the only two powers that were left were the U.S. and China, and that's the reason why they keep using the Chinese curse words, and the reason why she's prompted to do something when she's watching that Chinese advertisement. And
I did wonder about that because that never really is answered in the movie.
They don't really talk about it.
It's not answered anywhere.
Yeah. No. Because I did wonder, why is Chinese the only other language because when they talk about how they dissipate through the solar system and galaxy and they find other planets, I thought, okay, well, obviously other languages and dialects exist out there somewhere, but it was just English and Chinese, and I thought, that's kind of weird.
It's never really talked about. It's just Joss has literally just said that he felt like if the two countries that could have afforded to leave the planet, it would have been China and America.
And that was true at the time the series kicking off. I think we were pretty much the only, because Russia was kind of like coming down from all of that, and China like the most promising prospect. So it was kind of a little bit of guessing from where you're at, where it's going.
Yeah. It's I mean the show, the TV show is the same way. Everything is like there's almost all the written language is Chinese, and they kind of intersperse with it and things like that. So, but I love that they never translate. You just have to pick it up from context.
Just assume.
Yeah. Like, oh, I don't know what he's saying. It's probably a swear word.
Right. So. If it's Chinese, pretty much anything that he says in Chinese is going to be like a swear word or a slang kind of swear word.
Wasn't that one of the ways they got around the standards and what do you call them?
Like NDAA or whatever?
On TV is by cursing in Chinese?
Yeah.
Yeah, basically. Well, because at one point he calls, Simon uses the word gosa, which I guess is slang for shit.
Yeah.
And he refers to Serenity as gosa, and Kaylee gets really pissed.
Yeah.
So, all right. That's it. That's all for clips. It's time for our game. And this week, our game is being sponsored by...
Hey, it's Ebony, and you may know me from such podcasts as the Gruesome Twosome Movie Reviews. But did you know I also have a solo podcast? That's right, the Sweet and Sour Nuggies podcast, with one episode on short life stories of the sweet and sour variety, and the other Mental Health Mondays to be your guide to everything mental health and more. So grab your nuggies and follow us at SS Nuggies Pod on both Twitter and Instagram. Sweet and Sour Nuggies podcast, available on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, and more. Now readily available for your listening pleasure.
And now for some more bad news. Ready?
All right. Our game this week is presented by me. I'm doing the game this week because Andrew is super busy and I wasn't. So this game is called Hey, Did You Notice? This is a game where I take little fun things from the movie and I turn it into a game. It's going to be Andrew and Sam versus Brian.
All right.
Oh, we're teaming up.
You're going to team up on these because Andrew's only seen it once, and I think this will be good. Brian
notices lots of things, so let's see.
Yes, you do. The game is quite simple. It's a back and forth answer. If you Brian will go first. If you get it right, you get a point. If you get it wrong, they have a chance to steal. I would say if you win, you get stickers, but I've already mailed you stickers and a Sega Genesis, so I can't send you anything else.
We'll see.
We'll see. I guess I got something else over here I could probably mail you.
Right. Find me some more nostalgia stuff. Come on, look around. You know you have something.
Here, I'll mail you my R2D2 candy dish. There you go.
Head out to mom and dad's garage. Come on, you got some old school retro hardware out there. Come on.
Actually, my Nintendo is sitting next door, but you can't have that.
Go. Oh well, we'll see.
That is fair. That is fair. Of course, yeah. I guess Brian doesn't know where I live, so there's that.
Yeah.
All right.
You shouldn't send me your address. That was a mistake.
That was a mistake. Rookie mistake. All right. Question number 1. This is to Brian Dunaway.
All right.
What was the thing that flew off Serenity as they were trying to land at the beginning of the movie?
It was some kind of heat plate, wasn't it? Because it flew off at the end of the movie.
Yeah, it flew off at the end too. Yeah, but he says it like.
Did he call it a heat plate of some sort? I'm assuming.
No, he called it something very specific. He says it like 2 or 3 times.
Okay. what was it? I mean, it was just a metal plate. It's the baby bubby bumpers. It's
Yes.
buggy bumpers.
Baby buggy bumpers. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Sam, Andrew.
I would have said heat plate, but apparently that's not right.
Right.
It was the I don't know, the carburetor.
There you go.
Carburetor.
Carburetor.
It was the primary buffer panel.
Oh, the
primary buffer panel. Oh,
Did the primary buffer panel just blow off my ship?
Yeah, I was thinking secondary buffer panel, but I didn't want to say that.
Yeah, I didn't want to go.
I didn't know it was a buffer panel. I knew that.
That's all right.
Jeez.
All right, this is to Andrew and Sam.
Okay.
In what scene is our friend and listener Rosie in?
Oh, you've mentioned this like on our show today.
Yeah. I didn't.
Yeah,
I specifically
for her.
didn't tell you which scene though earlier because I knew trivia. But
I looked for her and I couldn't find her. Sam, did you see her?
I don't know which scene. I wouldn't know where to look.
All right.
I would guess the bar scene when right before River breaks it up.
Okay. That's not correct. Brian, you have a guess?
Not correct. Okay.
She was powdering the Reavers' noses in that one scene the River picked their trash.
She is a patron of the place that they rob.
Oh, so right at the very early on. Okay.
Yeah, pretty early on. Yeah, she's only on camera for like a half second, but when they burst open the door, she's right there. She's the first person that you see. As she's right there. So
that's cool.
Yeah. So hey, Rosie. Also, later Rosie's going to get a producer credit for a reason. We'll get to that in a second. Back to Brian.
Do it.
What was the commercial advertising that triggered River?
Ooh, hold on, wait. Is it? Wait. Don't tell me it was the Oatsies. It was like a fruity oat bar.
Yeah, that's it. The fruity oaty bar.
I eat them all the time.
Yeah,
that one I did know.
Yeah,
I was hoping you would get it wrong because I did know that one.
Wasn't it fruity oaty bar?
Yeah, he
Oaty
gets
bar.
He
Yeah.
gets oat bar. It's fine. He's the guest. He gets the. If you want to watch the whole thing, it's on YouTube. It's a trip. Go watch the whole thing. It's great. It's like a 3.5 minute thing that they made for the movie that they only use for 5 seconds. Sam and Andrew.
Yes.
What is the name of the planet that River remembers?
Oh, Miranda.
Hey, Miranda. I had to throw an easy one in there for you.
I knew that one.
Yeah.
By the way, normally this is out of 5. I wrote 8. So.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Well, good.
Well,
number for a tie.
When I sent you a message and said I don't think I'll have time, I thought, you know what, Shawn really should be writing the ones for this movie.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
All right. Back to Brian. The line "She is an albatross" is a reference to what poem?
Crap. The poem is my love for the albatross.
No, that's not right. No,
okay,
not Sam or Andrew.
It is an ancient mariner, and he stoppeth one of thee by long gray beard and glimmering eye. Now wherefore stoppest thou me?
What's it called?
What's the
is the first line in the rhyme of the Ancient Mariner.
There you go. Great. Man, you know the line.
I was going to say Moby Dick, but that's not a poem.
Yeah.
Wow. You know, like you have that.
Worst point.
You have that. You have that committed to memory.
I used to have the whole thing committed to memory.
Wow.
It's literally it's a giant poem, but now I just remember the first lines.
I'm impressed that you knew the line. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Back to Andrew and Sam. So this is interesting. Joss Whedon specifically did this on purpose. So we are in 2005 when this came out. We are post George Lucas going back and fiddling with Star Wars. And the whole Han Solo shoots first is now become a thing. So not only does he make sure that Mal shoots first, he actually shoots how many unarmed men?
Oh.
Ooh. 5?
I'll go with 5.
Brian?
Matt, I would never do that. It was 0.
Oh, no. The answer is 3. He shoots the operative when he literally says, I am unarmed, and he shoots him.
Yeah.
Right.
The pilot of the ship that Shepard Book crashes or shoots down, the guy puts his hands up and Mal walks over and shoots him. And the guy in the street that he pushes off the mule as the Reavers are about to eat him, he shoots him too.
But see, that's an act of mercy.
It is a piece of mercy.
I don't know if I give him the third one.
Yeah, I know. It's a piece of mercy, but technically he shoots an unarmed man. So,
okay.
Yeah. All right. So, back to Brian. This is going to be this one's kind of mean. I apologize, but what year does the film take place?
21. Wait a second. Let me do the math. Wait a second. It's 2017. 20. No, what is it? 2517. I can't remember.
2517 is correct.
Holy crap!
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Doesn't it say isn't that the opening?
I think it is.
Don't
It's in my head for some reason. It was like it's an autopilot mode.
Nice. Yeah, that's great. All right. Okay, well, the game is tied. Let's see what happens. We have 2-2. Okay. Back to Andrew and Sam.
Okay.
What is Shepard Book's and Wash's first name? It's on their tombstones.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I remember seeing their little hologram faces.
That was so
I was looking at the face.
Little animated holographic gifs in the loop.
Yeah.
There's some cactuses in front of Wash's tombstone there.
Oh, yeah.
Gosh, I don't know.
I don't know. Harold.
Perfect. Nailed it.
Harold.
Got it.
Harold Book.
Harold Book.
Harold would
Harold
actually
Wash.
make a kind of a good name for a shepherd if you think about it.
Yeah.
All right, Brian, you got one?
So are we doing, you said both?
Give me both. If you give me one, I'll give you half a point so you can win.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's Shepard, right? That's his name, right?
Well, that's his title. It's his job.
Oh.
Remember, he wasn't born a shepherd.
Oh, okay. That's right. Well, I thought his first name was Shepard.
No.
It's called him Shepard.
That's what I thought so too.
I thought his name was Shepard. I thought they were just trying to be clever. I didn't know it was his title. Then it must have been John Shepard Book.
Okay. What about Wash? You know Wash's first name?
Wash's first name? Tiddlywinks.
Tiddlywinks. No. So Shepard Book's first name is Derrial, Derrial.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And Wash's first name is Hoban Washburn.
I did know that coming. I didn't know that.
Oh my gosh, I was close with Harold.
You actually were pretty close, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was. We've been watching Game of Thrones, and I've been making fun of Hodor. And when I saw that in the wiki, I should have totally missed that.
That's all right. Hoban. All right. Well, hey, you know what? It ended a tie, and that is okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Everybody wins.
Everybody wins. Some of those were pretty hard.
Everybody gets a piece of retro stuff from Sean's house.
That's right.
Yeah.
And go pick out.
Exactly. Except not. All right. Time for this.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
This is our top 3 segment, and today we're doing movies based on TV shows. And this week we will start with Brian Dunaway.
Oh, hi. I'm going to say not only based on TV shows, I went with shows that were better, the movies that were better than the TV shows.
Okay. You went a step further. I like it.
Yeah. So, and I just go 3. I just tell you all 3 right now, right?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to go with The Addams Family. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Mission Impossible. I love those movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are trash. And
yeah, but they're still fun trash.
They are still fun trash. And so easy to be better than the series 21 Jump Street. Hilarious.
All right. Very good. I like it. Sam.
when the chief finds out his daughter.
Yeah.
That's
good.
All right. My number 3. I'm pretty much around the same vein. My number 3 is Maverick.
Yes.
My number 2, of course, are the Mission Impossible movies, and my number 1 is what we talked about earlier, The Fugitive.
Yes.
Okay. Right on.
The one-armed man.
Yeah.
Our man. Kill my wife.
I do like the Leslie Nielsen ripoff. What's it called? Not Spy Hard, but it's shoot.
Naked Gun?
Nope.
No, it's after the Naked Guns, I think.
Yeah, it's gosh dang it.
Oh crap.
What is it called?
Isn't it Spy Hard? I think it
no,
is.
Spy Hard is one of them, but it's not that one. It's anyway, basically in that one, it's the one-eyed, one-armed, one-legged man is the villain.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it's my
wrongfully accused.
Wrongfully accused.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's
Sam.
it.
Thank you.
I remember it now.
Yeah, the guy that plays the Tommy Lee Jones character cracks me up. I mean, he has one-liners like it's as American as a burrito. Just things like that. It's really funny stuff. All right, my top 3. I said The A-Team. I actually like that movie. I think it's a lot of fun. Yeah, that's a good time.
Parachuting tank, okay with you?
I'm fine with it. I really am. The movie's a good time. It's like it's good stuff. I also picked
shooting off rounds to aim where it wants to go.
Is he trying to shoot down the drone? No, they're trying to fly the tank. Yeah, no, it's dumb, but I don't care. I'm here for it. My number 2 is also Mission Impossible, and my number 1, of course, is Star Trek.
I figured you would.
Yeah, well, I had to.
I thought about Star Trek, but I was like, I'm not going to be that guy.
Yeah, well,
I'll let Sean be that guy.
Yeah, I'll definitely be that guy. And since we're talking about Star Trek, Rosie gets our producer credit for finding our Star Trek connection for the week.
Nice.
And that is Ron Glass, who played Shepard Book, was he was in Star Trek.
That's right.
Yeah.
He was
It was Captain Kirk.
Yeah.
Oh,
right.
That's not right.
Sounds right. Yeah.
Let's see.
Shepard Kirk.
Stand-in. Yeah.
He played Loken in a Voyager episode called Nightingale.
That's it.
Yeah. So, thank you, Rosie. Producer Rosie. How about that? Getting the producer credit. Twitter was active on this one, which is really cool. Sometimes Twitter.
Andrew had a top 3 too.
I knew he was going to do it. I knew it.
We got Sam back, and you're throwing everything off. Go ahead, Andrew.
You got one?
One time, gosh dang it. Go ahead, Andrew.
It's been a while. I'll let it slide. It's been a while.
It's been like 9 weeks since we've had Sam on here. I'm used to just 3 people. It's crazy.
All right, number 3, I had the Beverly Hillbillies.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah. And then number 2, I had Maverick as well. And number 1, I had Batman.
Oh, good
that's
point.
Good. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah.
Okay, now Twitter says what?
Yeah. Dunaway, I'm actually with you on the Beverly Hillbillies. I don't know why Ibit is so against redneck humor. I love that movie.
I do too.
I think funny. It's good stuff.
Jim Varney I think that's Jim Varney's best role.
Right. Oh yeah. It was a role that
and Cloris Leachman for that matter.
Oh, she's great in that movie. It's such a fun time. All right. I'm going to try to cook through these as best as I can because we got a bunch. Nostalgia Cast, who was on a few weeks ago, says The Fugitive, Untouchables, and Star Trek First Contact. Mm-hmm. The Untouchables, excuse me. Heather Sachs says The Fugitive, Wild Wild West, and Dudley Do-Right / George of the Jungle.
Wow.
Yeah.
They like unique movies.
Yeah. Cameron from the Green Shirt podcast says Mission Impossible, Ghost Protocol, The Addams Family, and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Good pick.
Yeah. Rosie, again, producer Rosie, says The Brady Bunch, The Addams Family, and Star Trek. Jesse from Open Pike Night says Star Trek 2, Star Trek 4, Star Trek First Contact. But he also does a Star Trek podcast, so that's fair. Jesse at Jester _Nene says The X-Files,
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's another good one I didn't think about.
First Contact and X-Men, quote, or in parentheses, okay, it was a cartoon, but it still counts.
Yeah. The 90s cartoon, but yeah, I guess it still counts.
Sure. Shoot the Flick says 21 Jump Street, Bob's Burgers the movie, and Serenity.
Okay.
Shawn White, not the Olympic skater, but fellow America's Next Top podcaster, Shawn White, says Cowboy Bebop, the Transformers, the movie, the cartoon movie, 86, and Shaun the Sheep.
Oh. Okay.
Let's see. And that's it. Most of the other people just said, hey, I love this movie. So
we did have some from Facebook as well.
Oh, we did have some on Facebook. You're right. Yeah. Thank you for saying that. As I navigate over there and try to buy a few seconds of time.
Our dear friend Melissa.
Yeah. Let's see.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Let's see. Cameron from the green shirt also. Wait, no, that's not right. Why did it post that? That was weird. Sorry. It pulled up what is happening? Andrew, do you have it in front of you? Why don't you read them?
I did have it in front of me. And I'm frantically scrolling.
Okay, here we go. All right. So Sonia Kilman from the Opinionated Luscious podcast says, this is my number one favorite movie at the end of a TV show, and then the 2 Stargate movies.
No.
I didn't know there was more than one Stargate movie.
There's another Stargate movie? I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
No, is there? I mean, there's the original.
Is there like a made-for-TV Stargate movie?
Oh, no, I remember the first season Stargate was on Showtime.
I don't know. Good friend and show Billy says Star Trek is too obvious, so here are some others: Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Addams Family, and some of the Mission Impossible movies.
Mm-hmm.
And Melissa, good friend of the show, Melissa also says Robocop.
No.
Robocop was a show? I didn't know that.
I don't recall that. I remember it being a video game, but that was after the movie.
Yeah. The Swiss Family Robinson. Also, again, I didn't know that was that based on a TV show? I thought it was based on
that's definitely a TV show.
Yeah.
Was it before the movie?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know. I honestly don't know. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Addams Family, Maverick, and The Fugitive.
There you
go.
Perfect.
Fugitive, very popular. Mm-hmm.
Friend of the show, Mark Shell says, or not friend of the show, friend of ours, Mark Shell says, it was a great show, but nobody watched it. The cast was great. I will say that without watching the show, Serenity wouldn't have had the same punch for me. Though the order is wrong, MASH was good for its time. It hasn't aged well as I thought it would have, unfortunately. Okay. Well, thank you guys. Thank you everybody for participating. I really appreciate it. And I hope you are listening to all of that. And okay, time for this now.
Wait, what's supposed to happen?
This is where we give this movie a score from 0 to 10. And we start with Andrew.
All right. Well, as usual, I will give us our IMDb score, which for this movie is a 7.8 out of 10, which is pretty high for this film that, in my opinion, is kind of a niche film made for the fans of the TV show. So to have that high of a score, I think that's pretty good. I, however, cannot go that high. And I think had I seen the show, maybe different. But it's not going to be terrible. I'm just going to go a point lower. I'm going to go 6.8.
All right.
Out of 10.
That's fine. Mr. Dunaway.
I'm kind of close to what the IMDb people are. I'm about 7.5. I didn't look at the IMDb, but shockingly, not far off. And I am kind of that niche group of people who like the movie, so I get some about average.
Oh, don't ever let anybody tell you you're average, Brian. You are.
my opinion is average. Oh.
Sam.
All right. Well, I am in that niche group, and I am one who loves this movie. I've got to give it an 8.8. Sorry. I love it. I love it. I know there's problems, but I don't care.
Yeah.
I enjoy it, and I have not watched this once with not wanting to sit through the whole thing. So I love it.
Hey, that's okay. There's no reason to apologize for loving a film as much as you do. And my turn. Well, it's my favorite movie. So this is a first. I've never done this on this podcast. This movie gets a 10. This is it's a 10 for me. It's a perfect. I'm going to say this. It is not a flawless film, but to me, it is a perfect film. To me,
yeah.
All right. Hold your emails. But to me, this goes in the same realm as Die Hard as being a perfect film. It perfectly does the thing it's supposed to do. Right. Again, Die Hard's not a flawless film, but it's pretty darn close. But I have always said that Die Hard's a perfect film because it's trying to do one thing and it does it really, really well. This movie does a thing, and I think it does it really, really well. So to me, this is a 10. I've never given a 10 on a show before. I'm scrolling back. Even movies like UHF got a 9.1 out of me. So yes, we did UHF, Brian. But yeah, that's it. That gives this movie a collective score of 8.275. I think.
Nice.
I'm very, very happy with that. I think that's great.
Yeah.
And
great.
Yeah, that's it. That's the show. Brian, thank you so much for coming on the show. And please tell our listeners where they can find more of you, because you have like 38 podcasts you do.
I do a few things. I like to create content. Thank you, Shawn, Sam, and Andrew. I can find what I do on Twitter at twitter.com, whatever. Anyway, my name is the Brian Dunaway on Twitter, because there's some other guy named Brian Dunaway and whatever. Don't talk to that guy. And then you also, I do stream a pretty good bit. I stream video games, retro video games, Monday through just about every day of the week, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Come check me out. And if you like retro video games, we just talked about the Commodore 64 this yesterday. No, today. It was still today. It was still today. Yeah. And then, of course, Film Sack, which we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Those are the places I hang out and do stuff and, whatever I do.
Yep.
Content creation.
I tried my darndest to call in today on the morning stream, but I couldn't get in.
Oh,
yeah. It's just one of those things.
Scott was having some phone problems, I think, and then he finally got it. Yeah, you can also hear me every day. Not every day. Monday and Wednesday, you can hear me do a couple of game things that me and Scott challenge each other at.
Yeah. It's always a good time. Well, again, thank you so much for coming on, Brian. It's been an absolute blast and a pleasure.
Absolutely.
And I've been kind of very excited for this. I was kind of geeking out a little bit and a little hero worship having you on the show. Because again, I've been listening to you talk for 10 years. Yeah. And the fact that I was able to bribe you to come on the show was really cool.
Well, I'm glad my family heard me talk for 10 years, and they want me to shut up. But it's nice to have somebody not want you to shut up. And but thank you for having me on the show, and thank you for having me on the show that is your precious baby, obviously the Serenity. With a perfect 10 score. So
sure.
Thank you for having me on for that.
Well, frankly, it just kind of made the most sense is when I was looking at the schedule, I thought, you know what, if I'm going to have him on, I'm going to go big. And so for me, this is not, it doesn't get much bigger than this is my favorite movie. So in the meantime, go to our website, cheapseatreviews.libsyn.com. There you can find links to all 409 other episodes. Like you can be like our friend Denise, and who again won't listen to this for a very long time, but hey, go back and listen to them all like she is. You can also go to our Patreon, patreon.com/cheapseatreviews. There you can become a Patreon, and soon new stickers are coming. So if you get to that $5 level, you're going to get some new stickers every month. I'm very excited. Sam's artwork is going to become stickers. It's very, very cool. Go check it out. You can also find us all over socials as Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. There I do stuff, and you can talk to me. Just send me messages and I will answer them. In fact, even today I got somebody else trying to scam me on Instagram, and I'll even talk to them for a few minutes before I tell them to go pound sand. So come hang out. It's great. They wanted to buy a picture of my cat for $500. Does that make sense to anyone?
None.
All I need is your name and your bank account info, and I will give you $500 for a picture of your cat.
Sure you will.
Yeah, that seems real. They actually tried to get me. They said, well, we'll email you a check. That's not how checks work. That's not how that works. Anyway, go to our socials there and you can hang out with us. Next week, we are doing something completely different. We're doing The Wrestler. the Mickey Rourke movie, The Wrestler, because we are being guested. That's not the right word. Our guest that week is from a podcast that is a wrestling podcast. So we are doing a wrestling movie. Woo! Yeah, very exciting.
Yeah, nice.
That's it. That's the show. So on behalf of Sam, right? That's the show. I have nothing else to say. Yeah, I think that's it. Cool. So on behalf of Sam, who is actually here, thank you, Sam, for coming back. We're very excited.
Right.
And Andrew and Mr. Dunaway, this is Shawn saying thank you all so much for listening, and we'll see you next week for The Wrestler.
This is Cheapseat Reviews.